Good morning, gardeners, and welcome to Wednesday, June 28th. My name is Catherine, and I created a show called Good Morning Gardeners, even though I can't grow green things because I am referring to gardening metaphorically. We're planting the seeds for a better day. We're starting our day by getting in the right mindset to cultivate a better life for ourselves, better communities, and a better world. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to add Good Morning Gardeners to your morning routine. I do my best to wake you up with positive and mentally stimulating ideas, but sometimes I do miss things. If you have something to add to the ideas I discussed today, please chime in the comment section below. So this is the part of the show where I normally introduce the international observance for the day, but unfortunately there is no such day or no such observance for June 28th. So I'm taking this opportunity to consider some alternatives to sharing an international observance every morning. I do enjoy learning about these international days because I think they can be a good opportunity to learn something new and or highlight an important issue. On the other hand, some days aren't marked with an international observance and many days aren't super interesting. Additionally, I think it might be a good idea to adapt these Good Morning Gardeners episodes so that they may be enjoyed for any day. This could be beneficial for people who are new to the show or people with schedules that differ from mine. For example, those who work Tuesday through Saturday but take Sunday and Monday off. So my first idea was to replace this section by reading from a daily wisdom book. This could be a single sentence, a short chapter, or a portion of a longer chapter from a book such as The Daily Stoic. The Daily Stoic has been on my reading list for some time, but I also found a book called A Year of Positive Thinking. And while I was poking around, I also saw a book called A Year of Self-Care and another book called A Year of Self-Esteem. Another idea I had would be to share an interesting fact or just a brief tidbit of information that might pique your interest or simply wash over you as you're blinking the sleep from your eyes. As creative as I am, I do doubt my ability to creatively come up with a new subject every morning, so I searched around for some books that might do this for me. I found a book called Stuff You Should Know by Josh Clark and Chuck Bryant, which reviews say contains mostly trivia. I also found a book called Uncommon Knowledge, The Economist Explains by Tom Standage. And I learned that I can simply Google interesting fact of the day and be presented with a random fact. So in the near future, I am planning on taking a week off, so there will be no fresh episodes of Good Morning Gardeners the last week of July. So sometime over the next few weeks, I plan to implement one of these alternatives. And if you'd like to have a say in which of these I choose, please leave your preference in the comment section below. So yesterday, I read to you from Team Human by Douglas Rushkoff, a critique of digital media. And I promised to share his additional technology critiques with you in the future, but this morning, I just don't feel like it, because last night I read a really wonderful part of this book. So we are going to skip around. We'll get to the less pleasant digital critiques later, but this morning we're going to read this really beautiful section of Team Human by Douglas Rushkoff. He writes, "We can assert our uniquely human sides through things like humor and pranks, music and magic, none of which can be appreciated or even understood by machines or markets. Comedy demands that we identify with someone else and recognize our plight in theirs. Music communicates through aesthetics, while art challenges our sense of self and our relationship to the outer world. Stage magic confounds our logical sensibilities, contrasting the way things appear with the way we know that they should be, while spiritual magic explores the seemingly impossible relationship between our will and the workings of the universe." Weirdness crashes boundaries, forcing us to see our complicity in reality creation. We break free of the imposed program and experiment with alternatives. None of our models are authoritative, but that's the whole point. We each live within the confines of our own reality tunnels, seeing very limited pictures of the real world. That is what we have in common. The best way to resolve the image is to bring more people and perspectives into play. So I really, really love that little section. And this whole chapter, if you will, is just amazing. But for now, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to where Douglas writes, "The happy explosion of new genders, racial identities, and disability intersections flies in the face of social programming designed to stigmatize, difference, and disadvantage those who can be labeled as outsiders. Shame does have a social function. Shaming those who deviate from the norm helps galvanize unity among the group and enforce adherence to the rules. Frat houses shame new recruits into macho antics, just as pious hypocrites shame their followers into obedience. In more pro-social hands, the same shaming tactics can be used by schools to stigmatize bullying, or by environmentalists to punish polluters. The problem is that people in institutions behaving destructively are not so vulnerable to shame. Bullies are proud of their conquests, and corporations experience no emotions. Social stigma only truly hurts humans who are being human. It is a counterproductive way of bonding people. Human teams should be based on common hopes, needs, strengths, and vulnerabilities. We don't get that way by enforcing shame, but by embracing openness. The internet, with its sometimes forced transparency, creates possibilities for the dissolution of shame and for new bonds of solidarity across formerly impenetrable boundaries. It's no coincidence that a digital culture with imposed surveillance and inescapable exposure has also brought us gay marriage and cannabis reform. The things people do become normal when they can't be shamed into silence about doing them. So that's a happy little antidote to yesterday's negativity about technology, because this is something positive that the internet has brought us, and this is still in play today. I definitely have noticed anecdotally that people seem to becoming less and less ashamed of things, partly thanks to their interactions online, and I just think that's really cool. But let's continue with this passage here. Once we dispense with shame, we are liberated to experience the full, sacred, unlikely wackiness of being human. The state of awe may be the pinnacle of human experience. It's what lies beyond the paradox. If humans' unique job in nature is to be conscious, what more human thing can we do than blow our observing minds? Beholding the panoramic view from a mountaintop, witnessing the birth of a child, staring into a starry sky, or standing with thousands of others in a march or celebration, all dissolve the sense of self as separate and distinct. We experience ourselves both as the observing eye and the whole of which we are a part. It's an impossible concept, yet an undeniable experience of power and passivity, awareness and acceptance. Psychologists tell us that the experience of awe can counteract self-focus, stress, apathy, and detachment. Awe helps people act with an increased sense of meaning and purpose, turning our attention away from the self and toward our collective self-interest. Awe even regulates the cytokine response and reduces inflammation. New experiments have revealed that after just a few moments of awe, people behave with increased altruism, cooperation, and self-sacrifice. The evidence suggests that awe makes people feel like part of something larger than themselves, which in turn makes them less narcissistic and more attuned to the needs of those around them. Unfortunately, opportunities to experience awe in modern society are becoming more scarce. People spend less time camping or in nature. The night sky is polluted with light, and schools have been jettisoned in favor of those that prepare students for the standardized tests on which schools are judged. There are no easy metrics for awe. Like any extreme state of being, awe can also be exploited. Movies use special effects and giant spectacle scenes to leverage awe at specific moments in a story arc. Dictators hold huge rallies to exhilarate their followers while avoiding any reasoned debate. Even shopping malls attempt to generate a sense of awe with high ceilings and giant fountains. For a moment, awe overwhelms the senses and wipes the mind clean, making it more open to new input. This helps a person take in new information, but also makes them more vulnerable to manipulation. And once burned by someone manipulating awe, we are twice shy to open ourselves to it again. We become jaded and cynical as a defense against being wonderstruck. Still, just because awe can be abused doesn't mean we should give up on its humanizing potential. There is a difference between real awe and manipulated excitement, between staring out onto the expanse of the Grand Canyon and standing in a sea of true believers at a nationalist rally. The manufactured brand of awe doesn't unify. It divides us into individual consumers or followers. We become fragmented, each imagining our own relationship to dear leader. True awe comes with no agenda. It's not directed towards some end or plan or person. There's no time limit or foe to vanquish. There is no other. True awe is timeless, limitless, and without division. It suggests there is a unifying whole to which we all belong, if only we could hold on to that awareness. So, our feel-good thought for the day is this. If it inspires awe in you, it is worth doing. Remember what Douglas wrote. The state of awe may be the pinnacle of human experience. Not only that, but there's also ample evidence to suggest that experiencing awe makes us better people on multiple levels. With so many choices to make in life, so many possible paths to take, so many possible hobbies to engage in, it can be exhausting to account for ethics with every decision. Just this morning, I was thinking about a few trips I want to plan, and then I started wondering if my traveling hobby is such a good idea since travel consumes a higher amount of fossil fuels than staying home does. Sure, if I only consider my own travel, the damage is minimal, especially since I take trains as often as I can, but should I really travel as often as I do? And should I encourage others to travel? If everyone traveled as much as I do, the results would likely be disastrous for the planet. Well, this morning I am not encouraging you to travel. I am simply encouraging you to do something that puts you in a state of awe. And for our focus moment, I want you to come up with a short list of things that inspire awe in you, and then set the intention to plan to make one of these things happen in the near future. For me, traveling puts me in a state of awe. Seeing new places reminds me just how expansive, resilient, and creative humanity is, and it definitely makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself. One of the most notable examples of this for me is wind turbines. When I first came to Germany, I was immediately enthralled by these absolute giants who seemed to be twirling their arms everywhere I went. I started taking photos and videos of these silent sentinels. Then I started painting them. Painting for me is a meditative state, so I'm sure that this decreased my stress and improved my focus. Painting these windmills is an act of admiration, and it puts me in a state of gratitude, so my mood is improved and I'm happier in general. I recently sold one of these paintings, which enriched me financially. So basically, when I consider my awe of wind turbines, I can only think of positive ways that admiring them has impacted my life. And now, it's your turn to come up with your own awe-inspiring thing. It might be looking up at the starry sky in nature. It might be dancing in a huge crowd of people who are all appreciating the same music at the same time. It might be visiting natural history museums or art exhibits. It might be simply looking into your child's eyes. Whatever inspires awe in you, decide right now when you are going to engage in this activity next, and then make it happen. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I will speak with you again tomorrow.